Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we're in the home studio. We've got a good buddy over the Skype here. It's my bunk buddy, my celebration bunk buddy, live from Sydney. It's Turbo, Matthew Thurbon. How you going, mate?
How's it going, Josh? My old bunk buddy from Chicago.
That's right. We
good to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to talk to you again. We have actually caught up in person since Celebration, but we always have those memories of being in the. It was almost like being a bunker, wasn't it? We were sort of like this little downstairs room in the Airbnb, weren't we? Yeah,
it was a basement, I would say. Yeah.
Let's not sugarcoat it. It was a basement, but. It had its own bathroom, and it had a bunch of bunks, and we I think there were 3 sets of bunk beds in there for 2 of us. So we had our own bunk each. We didn't have to sort of have one on top of the other or anything, did we?
No. It was a good place for podcasting as well at the end of the night as well.
Yeah, it was. It was. It worked out really well. We had a good little spot there. Reminiscing about the old Celebration memories and things. And considering it was freezing in Chicago, we were right next to the heater thing, so it was nice and toasty.
That's right. And I had the beer jacket on as well, quite a bit. So that helped out.
Yeah, that certainly helped. The beer jacket. Wake up in the middle of the night with the beer sweats and sort of like, get up and do it all over again. Now, sorry, mate. I was just going to say, we've got you in at a very sort of pivotal time. It's the deep breath, isn't it? It's the deep breath before the plunge.
It is. It's literally a week away, so it's Wednesday, and I would be heading to the cinema about now. This time next week, I think.
Yeah, same here.
Might have a few cheeky drinks beforehand.
Just keep the nerves
I'm actually
down.
trying to. Yeah, I'm actually supposed to go to the cricket beforehand. There's a 2020 match on at the SCG, so I might go there for a bit and then wander over to. We're going to see it at Broadway Cinemas, which is near Central in Sydney. And, it should be good. Midnight session.
Yeah, not bad after...
What about you, Josh?
Well, I'll be down at the Star Walking screening down at Knox that we've done the last couple of years. No Steel Wars show this year. Steel is going to be in... America, where he lives with his family, so he's not just hopping a plane coming back for a movie screening. But Star Walking, who've been putting it on the last 3 or 4 years, are still doing the midnight. So we'll have a crew of familiar faces down there. It won't be as big as the previous ones, but we're certainly going to have a few people down there that we'll know. And I've been assured from the people at Star Walking they've got a good spot, a good seat. So I'm happy about that. Some people.
So you're in the centre this time, not off to the edge.
Yes, well, right now Chris Fresh's ears are burning because he always says that I bring up that story all the time. But I've been doing a little bit of. I've been helping out Star Walking with a few design things for them going forward. So I think I've greased the wheels enough to get a decent spot.
Yeah. So with Star Walking, I just realised there's an event in Sydney as well. I think I mentioned on Twitter that. My friend bought a ticket for me to Broadway, so I'm going with a couple of friends who I've known since probably preschool, primary school, and I've been seeing every Star Wars midnight session since the Phantom Menace with them.
Wow!
With the exception of The Last Jedi, which I saw with you guys down in Melbourne. So I'm going to Broadway, and that happens to be the same cinema that Star Walking going to be. So
you're going to try and nick some freebies.
Yeah, I'll try and get one of those Hugh Fleming posters, or at least I think there'll be a few cosplayers around, which would be good. So I guess before the cinema would be pretty interesting in the city. So looking forward to it. Yeah,
well, we'll be
I'm just deciding.
Oh, you go, Matt.
No, I just got to decide what shirt to wear. Like, I've got so many shirts these days.
I was
a tough decision.
I was just messaging our friend Catherine Neen about the exact same thing. She was having the same dilemma. I think it's going to be, at least in Melbourne, it's going to be quite warm that day. So I'm leaning towards the Lando shirt that you were kind enough to get me from the Celebration store. So I've only worn it once before. So I'm leaning on the Lando shirt. That's where I'm at the moment.
It is a good selection. It's got the right look for summer, but it doesn't actually breathe very well. It's kind of one of those acrylic-y, kind of sweaty.
Oh, really?
Sweaty shirts. Yeah.
Oh,
Give it a trial run before, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe. It's going to be hot for a few days. I might do I'll do a run leading up.
It's definitely the right look, I'd say. I'm thinking I might go podcast agnostic and keep it Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I when we did the live podcast a few weeks ago for the Mandaloian down here with the Blue Bantha Milk guys, and I knew that Matt was going to be filming it, and I'm a bit like, oh, what t-shirt am I going to wear? I can't wear one of my own shirts. And I said on a Canto Bite one. I think the only photo that came out, or the one that went sort of social when we were talking about it, I had my arms crossed, and you couldn't actually see it was on there anyway. So, but I did actually make a point to say I was wearing a Canto Bite Dispatch t-shirt, I promise. So,
I bought what I thought was a Blue Harvest podcast shirt off TeePublic. And I thought, this is for the Blue Harvest podcast, but it was just a knockoff, straight up Blue Harvest t-shirt. Nothing to do with the podcast.
Oh, like the ones that they wore on set kind of thing?
Yeah, just that logo. So it's a good shirt, but
you denied Hawes $2.
Exactly. I'm going to have to go back and get some more, I think. Yeah,
I need to do a big sort of purchase, and there's a few that I've fallen behind. The Bad Motivators have got some really good ones at the moment too. But t-shirt talk. But I think the pub that is next door to the cinema is still open, even though they've talked about it's going to be closing down for ages. But there'll hopefully be a few people down there at the pub. We'll have, like I said before, Catherine and Andy will be down there, and Dale and Michael, who we know down here, and I think the Geek Dudes will be floating around. So there'll be a few friendly faces. I don't think it's going to be as packed with people as Last Jedi was, but definitely enough crew to make it a fun night, and I'll have a few mates coming down too. So I'll hopefully be buzzing around with a microphone, getting some reactions and things, and hopefully do a little reaction pod afterwards.
We should also try a little drunken Skype call as well.
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
I'll give you guys a call. We won't be able to hear anything, but I'll wave.
Well, I don't want to be too drunken before the movie. I've made the mistake of having too many beers before Force Awakens and needing to wee 10 minutes into it. So I've just got to ease into it. We've all been there. Yeah, yep. Ease into this one. I know they said that it's the equal shortest Star Wars movie. I think they said it's the same length as the original Star Wars. So it's 2 hours and 10 or something. So we're not talking Last Jedi, time here. So, won't be waiting as long for a bathroom break.
I thought it was the third longest. Right?
Really?
I think Last Jedi and Revenge of the Sith, maybe, or Attack of the Clones, and then this one. Maybe I've done my maths wrong. I don't know.
I'm gonna. Sometimes when you want to know something, you get the old Google out and have a look here. Let's see. Star Wars 2 hours 5 minutes. It just says, I was thinking a thing here saying 141 minutes. So what's that? 2 hours 20?
2 hours 21.
2 hours 21.
2 hours 21.
Yeah.
This is quality podcasting.
Here we go. I've got the list. Here
Google.
we go. I've got it. Star Wars was 121 minutes. Empire 124. Return of the Jedi 131. Phantom Menace 136. Attack of the Clones 142. Revenge of the Sith actually shorter, 140. Force Awakens 138. Rogue One 133. Last Jedi 152. Solo 135. Rise of Skywalker 155. That can't be right. Why is it saying 150?
Yeah,
2 hours 21.
That's fake news.
241.
I think that's fake news.
They've got that wrong. They've put they literally wrote an article about how it was this time, and then in their little list they got the time wrong. But anyway, I digress. Like you said, really interesting podcasting, talking about googling run times and minutes and things like that. But Yeah, right. So you got your same mates, your buddies. Have you got a certain guy mate you always sit next to for these things?
Um, yeah, so I've got two mates who are from school, and then sort of extended mates, three or four of those. But yeah, I got one mate who is. See, generally I'm the guy that buys tickets, but I've got one mate that's sort of one ups me and just buys them before anyone.
Oh,
So
right.
he's the ticket buyer. So that's why he jumped in and bought them before the Star Walking event. So, but at least it's in the same cinema. So yeah.
Yeah, you get the sort of the buzz and the atmosphere, the people kind of buzzing around and things, which is always good. It's yeah, it's funny because it's the last couple of years at the Knox one, we've always been in the pub, so you kind of see a few people buzzing around. But I'll probably try and spend a little bit more time in the lobby and get some sweet content, and then after the movie, do a little, like I said, a wrap up with people who are around, and then I don't know, go home at 4 a.m. and edit something and try and put it up straight away. Before the rest of the world gets it.
Yeah, with no spoilers. I guess you have to spoil it, right?
No, I'll just do spoilers. Some people will want to hear it, and some people won't. That's fine.
Yeah, you just have spoiler warnings. That's fine.
Yeah, I think
it's like 36 hours before anyone else. Is that right?
Yeah, it's quite long because the people were saying that. Because I was asking people in the States, like, do you do midnight? Do you do midnight? And they go, oh no, we don't do midnight, but you can go at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the day before. So if their release day is Friday, they can go 5 p.m. on the Thursday or something like that. It's really weird. So they're still miles behind. They're like a day and a half behind still.
Yeah, so we can get them, those Mando spoilers, we can get back at them.
Well,
we have to wait a week.
Yeah, Mando's great now because it comes out at 7 o'clock in the evening. It's literally when we just finish our dinner and sit down, and then Mandalorian's just on at the absolute perfect time. So, we had that little week there where we were behind 2 episodes and people were spoiling everything. But now it's you sit down and we're in the perfect zone for Mando releases.
Yeah, I am enjoying it actually. I don't mind staying home Friday night. That's usually when I'm end of the work week. You just want to go home and crash. So it's actually a good time. Get home and relax.
Yeah, I haven't done much on a Friday night for a long time with little kids. Although I am going to, just speaking of our friend Chris Fresh before, I am going to Wrestle Rock, which is put on by Chris, which is on this Friday night, their Christmas special at the Corner Hotel. So me and Andy are going down to that. So I'm not quite sure what we're doing Mando yet, whether we're going to watch Mando.
Is that his last one? It's his last Wrestle Rock, isn't it?
I don't know. I think he might still be doing Wrestle Rock, but he's out of the regular one. Wrestle Rock's sort of like the filthy offshoot, I think. He could probably tell you more about that.
Offshoot.
Yeah, I'll probably get this wrong. He's yelling at Chris is one of the first people who hears this because we put this out in the nighttime, and I think he's driving home from the night shift and he gets the podcast straight away. So he's one of the first to hear this. So he's probably saying right now that I'm getting it all wrong, but he can correct me on Friday when I see him. But I'm not quite sure what we're going to do about Mando.
I'm going to say Merry Christmas to Fresh.
Merry Christmas, Fresh. Yes. And then I'll see him at Knox as well. Now, let's talk Turkey. Rise of Skywalker. We're talking about how we're going to see it. What are you feeling leading up? How much have you still been watching all the TV spots? Have you jumped out? Have you opted out? Is Star Wars giving us too much now?
I follow a lot of things on Twitter, so my timeline sort of just spews out random news frequently, and it kind of just scrolls by. So occasionally I'll see a TV spot and I'll watch it, but I won't religiously go and look at every single TV spot. Yep. So I'm not too concerned if I see something that I shouldn't see, but the way I figure it is, it's out there officially, and I think they want us to watch it. So. Yeah, I don't think I've seen every TV spot. I've probably at least half of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've stopped
that's
actively. I've stopped actively watching them probably about a week ago. I watched the first couple and then I've just stopped clicking on them. But again, same thing. If somebody's posting a screenshot or talking sort of generally about it, I'm just like, cool. I'm just more like going, I don't need to see that footage. If I don't need to see it, I'd rather see it in the film now. I did watch did you watch the behind the scenes clip that they put out about a week ago?
I did, and I think you I saw your screen cap of that one. With,
I did that, and then as soon as I did it, I went, I should take that down, and I took it down because I realized you had that sort of thing going, oh, well, it's in an official Star Wars thing, like, who cares? And then I went, oh, actually, there is some stuff in here people might not want to know, so I did jump it out.
But, see, with that one, first time I watched it, I saw Wicket. Well, I just spoiled it for everyone, but
that's okay. It's an official Star Wars thing, yeah.
But for some reason, I just thought it was a young Warwick Davis, and then only when you mentioned it, I went back and go, "Hang on, that is an older Warwick Davis." Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
game on.
Yeah, maybe I know it is. It's totally game on. I mean, maybe we should sort of touch on it. I mean, I'd been banging on for ages about how, I thought the Death Star had to fall on the forest moon of Endor because it was sitting right above it. Now, there's not to say that I'm still not incorrect about that, and the Death Star wreckage is definitely sitting in an ocean somewhere, but it does give a bit more weight to the argument, doesn't it? I mean, like, you're not going to go to the place next door, to find out where the Death Star is. You'd figure if you're going to Endor, you're going to Endor. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah, wasn't there some mention of an ocean moon? And isn't it just another moon? So, but then, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the new character Janna a native of that ocean moon? Am I reading into something wrong?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was on the Black Series figure. Possibly.
No, I had one in my hand the other day. Actually, I went to Target and they had a couple of Black Series and they had a Janna, and I nearly got it, but I ended up getting the ceremonial Luke because I've been hunting it because they spell Skywalker wrong on the box. So I really wanted to get one, even though there's hundreds of them, thousands of them probably. But I can't say I read the thing on the box there, but I'm not too sure.
On that topic of Janna, right? So I always look into names and meanings of names, but so there's a kebab shop. Is it a kebab shop, like a Turkish shop?
Where's this going to go? Is this the Janna snack pack or something? Is it?
It's called El Janna, right? And it's spelt the same, Jannah. So I always just look up names, and then apparently the Janna with an H is a translation of the Quran, and it means paradise or garden, like Garden of Eden / paradise.
Oh.
So, and then I was thinking, she's from the ocean moon. She's from, something to do with that. So, that's to kind of pique my interest, is looking into names and what it means. So
that's more research. That's more research than I've ever done before. That's very impressive.
Well, it started off with kebabs, but
it started with you just going, geez, I'd really like a halal snack pack right about now. But
yeah,
Google it. You could get one of those on. What you could do is when you leave the cricket on next Wednesday after a few beers, you go to that kebab shop, get yourself the Janna special, get yourself the Janna halal snack pack special, line the stomach, and you'll be good and set for a bit of Rise of Skywalker afterwards.
I'll give it a go. I'll let you know.
There we go. You're like, yeah, that didn't go well. I just got the shits for the whole movie or something instead. Look, I don't know. I just find it weird that they dropped that Wicket thing this close too. Like, I felt like that was. I mean, I don't read the spoilers. I don't seek them out. Maybe it's been common knowledge about anybody who follows spoilers and stuff, but it certainly didn't sort of float into my world. And it seems strange that they just snuck that in. But we don't know the context. There could be 1,000 ships that turns up.
It could be something like a new Star Wars holiday special, and having Wicket there. I don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah,
it could just be he's dressing up for old time's sake. We don't actually know.
Yeah, maybe
we don't know.
He could just be getting ready for Halloween or something like that, or it could just be that maybe the Ewoks, maybe Wicket's been was shifted out of Endor. He lives somewhere else. Maybe he's been living with Princess Leia for 40 years. After the Battle of Endor, he went and lived with Han and Leia, and Leia goes back to her house, and
That's a thought.
Wicket's just like there, hanging on the couch, going, "What's going on? Where's Han?" It's like, "Oh, got some bad news for you, Wicket."
Yeah, look, all valid theories. All valid.
All valid theories. Now, you had mentioned that you had a few theories. Now, was the Janna one that was that your big one, or did you have something else in the pocket that you wanted to drop?
It was more to do with the Mando spoiler rather than Mando theory.
Let's pivot then.
But we can keep talking about Rise of Skywalker.
All right. Well, let's just do a little bit more Rise of Skywalker, and then we'll jump over to the Mando, since it's it's what everyone's talking about. So, Rise of Skywalker. Do you feel like you have any sort of grip or grasp of what's going on in this movie, or does it feel pretty much just like I don't really have a particular grasp personally of what the narrative of the film is going to be, really, or I kind of you get little glimpses of locations and scenes and things, but I don't really have any sort of feeling about how it's all going to play out. I don't know about you.
No, in terms of what planet goes where in what time of the time frame of the movie, I have no idea. Apart from the clip they shown of the in the desert. So apparently JJ said that was one of the opening scenes in the desert with the "they fly now" scene.
Yep.
But that's about the only thing I know, the order in which things happen. And I've got no clue about structure or plot or who goes what, where, how.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that. I like how it actually just keeps it open. So when you first watch a Star Wars film for the first time, you're kind of freaked out by what's coming next, and I really enjoy that still. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't mind knowing, say, the first act, but once you get past the first act, I'd like to be completely surprised about where it's going.
Yeah, I get the feeling that maybe the desert planet chase stuff is a bit like the Jabba's palace kind of first action beat sort of setup. The characters are in place, sort of early team mission thing where they're all doing something together before the movie sort of escalates, I think. But I was just going to say they've been talking a lot about in the press around getting the team back together, or not really back together, but together for the first time. I'm wondering if that only happens in the first act, and then eventually they'll start to branch off into their own little different scenes, I guess. Yeah,
so it's similar to Return of the Jedi, where there's at the final act, there's 4 or 5 different things going on, and everyone's split off into their own little battles, and that's what I imagine. I imagine it's going to have the same sort of story beats. The team's together at the beginning, having fun, and then they kind of split off towards the end on their own little journeys and resolutions.
Yeah, so I think that whatever that little mission at the start is, however that concludes, is the thing that kind of propels the story, whether it's something that happens to Rey or she realizes that she's got to do something, or I'm not too sure yet. But it's good not to know. It's funny kind of going, oh, they're showing a lot, but at the same time, I don't really have any idea how it's going to play out. I know, obviously if you look hard enough on the internet, you can find these things, but a week out, I'm like, I don't want to know. I'm just sort of, I mean, are you going to sort of shut the online the Twitter off after it premieres, or are you going to try and just hope for the best?
I'm just going to cross my fingers. I'm no good at filtering out stuff. If I try to filter stuff out, it always pops up and I get annoyed. So I think
you stupid filter, you didn't do anything.
Yeah, so I'll let it slide for the next couple of days. If I see anything that's a bit out there and I don't want to see, I'll just switch off.
Yep.
I'll probably keep my DMs open, and that's about it.
Yeah, same here, really. I mean, I've got sort of my personal Twitter that is pretty curated for people I know and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, the one with the podcast is a bit more of a free for all, so that probably won't even get opened, I reckon, the next couple of days, because that's just followers of pretty much people, random Star Wars people and other podcasts and stuff, where it's a bit more Wild West out there. So, I've been lucky so far. Please don't take this as an invitation if you're listening and you don't like me, but I've managed to go into pretty much all these new Star Wars movies pretty much unspoiled. So I'm hoping that I can just get to this one and with the same kind of track record.
Yeah, same. I think it's going to be the same. Just I like enough information to be confused.
Yeah.
But I'll keep it at that.
Confused. Yeah. Right. Well, let's do a little pivot then. Let's get off the big screen and get down to the small screen. Let's pop on our Disney Plus. Let's pop on our Mandalorian helmet and grab our bone soup or our bone broth and have a little chit chat about this. So, how you all finding it so far? We're going to get another Frush style song from you, or
no? I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, leaning towards kind of just enjoying it enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So I give it a number. Like if I was to give a number of most episodes, probably like 7 out of 10. I'm really enjoying I like how each episode will just have enough to keep you interested for the next episode, just enough little.
Yep.
And so far each episode's had that each week. So, and I think the whole introduction of Baby Yoda baby, Yodler, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of given it that emotional center. So that's the thing that's kind of keeping you there. So I always try and picture like, okay, what would the Mandalorian be if Baby Yoda wasn't there?
Yeah, like, I've thought about that a few times too. What would that show be? Yeah,
like I think the show would be kind of a bit more Clone Warsy or Rebelsy, but I think having the Baby Yoda gives it that emotional core, and you're kind of addicted to it in a way.
It's the crossover as well. Like, as I've had friends of mine who will go see a Star Wars movie, but sort of would probably have no interest in a TV show really. And then that one of them was like, "Oh yeah, well, I heard there's a Baby Yoda, so I want to watch it now." It's certainly been the thing that's elevated it, I think, outside of Star Wars fans. I don't know if the show without it would really get much mass appeal without Baby Yoda. I suppose it depends. Do you get those people like us who will watch most things at Star Wars regardless? And then, I don't know, does it cross over to... I think at least initially it crosses over to people who go, I go see Star Wars movies. I like Star Wars movies. But I think even the Baby Yoda stuff's probably pushed it to people who probably wouldn't have watched it if they hadn't known there was a Baby Yoda.
Yeah, so example is my youngest who's 7. He kind of wasn't interested in it. Like I said, come and watch Mandalorian, and he didn't really. He showed no interest. And then I said, look, just trust me. Watch the first episode and wait till the end, and then you tell me if you like it or not. And as soon as he saw Baby Yoda, he's like, "Fuck those porgs! I'm into Baby Yoda now." So he used to be really big into porgs, and now he's done the switch. So
give me that Baby Yoda merch.
Yeah. So it's that. Yeah, I think Baby Yoda ties it all together, and look, it is kind of goofy in places, but that's Star Wars, and I like it, and it's a bit clunky and some of the pacing, but it's just enough to keep you interested.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm enjoying it for sure, and I think the last 2 episodes have been the weaker episodes, but having said that, it's still pretty bloody enjoyable. Like, I think maybe we've been spoiled. I think it came out of the gate really strong, and I think also it was just, I think there was an expectation, at least from my end, I don't know why, that maybe it probably wouldn't be as polished or as expensive looking. It'd be a little bit more, it'd feel just more like made for TV. So I think when it sort of jumped out from the first episode and the scope was really big, and the special effects for the most part flawless and really looks almost movie quality, that the expectation levels have shot up. So the last couple of episodes have felt more like episodic television. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're kind of right. The way I felt about it was the first 3 chapters were, if you edited those 3 together, that could be a movie. And the same sort of quality wise, those first 3. And then when it got to the 4th, it was like, it almost felt like a episode of MASH or something.
Yeah, a lot of people said they're like Stargate
So-
or a Star Trek show or sort that kind of.
Yeah. But then when the ATSTs came back, it was like, oh, here we go again, and it sort of propped it back up. So
Yeah.
like I said, it's just enough to keep you interested and wanting more. So that's all I care about.
I guess
It's like, yeah.
I was going to say, I guess it's
Go
because there's only 8 episodes. If it had been like 15 or 16 episodes and you got these last 2 and you just be like, oh, okay, cool, it's just part of the story, But I think because there's only 8 and the first 3 move so quick and the plot moves so quick and there's so much stuff, you kind of go, oh, geez, are we really using 2, we've only got 3 more episodes left after this or whatever it is. Are we really going to use these episodes to tell this story? Is it really pivotal? Now it only gives us 3 more episodes to get back to all the really chunky stuff.
But I don't think that matters now that we know there's a season 2, because like season 2 is just an arbitrary number, right? So like a lot of shows do like mid-season breaks, and they'll have 8 episodes and then mid-season break and then another 8. So if you treat it like that, then these episodes kind of fit. I'd say.
I was always sort of wondering whether
It'd be different.
Oh, you go, Matt.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, like, if we knew it was just like let's say if we know Obi-Wan is only going to be 6 or 8 episodes, and that was it. If we knew definitively, then it would be, if episode 4 and 5 were fillers, it would be a bit strange. But now that we know season 2's coming, then stretch it out a bit. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like saying they're fillers. Obviously, people work very hard on them, and they're still very impressive. But at the same time, it just as far as the propulsion of the story, did sort of felt like it took a bit of a they put the brakes on a little bit. But look, I'm very curious to see where it goes. And the Obi-Wan show's interesting, isn't it? Because they're kind of going, oh yeah, it's going to be 6 episodes or 7 episodes or whatever it is, and it does feel like that is more likely to be a one-off, just because. I guess the Ewan McGregor factor. You're like, is he really going to front up every year to make another series of this? You feel like he's going to look, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this thing, and then we're done, and then I don't have to be asked about Obi-Wan Kenobi ever again. But I feel like that will be more likely to be like that one and done.
Yeah, I think that's going to be 6 episodes to 8 episodes. That's it. Because there's only so many stories you can tell. So whereas the Mandalorian's more like, you can go planet to planet, you can go anywhere in the universe or galaxy, whatever you want to call it. But so it's a bit more adventures. Of an open, whereas Obi-Wan has he's on Tatooine, he has to look after Luke, so there's not much he can do. He's not going to go he may go off planet once or twice, but he's not going to go wandering the universe like the Mandalorian.
Yeah, you sort of wonder about Obi-Wan, like, what's his day like? Like, does he literally, like, go down to the homestead every day to make sure that Luke is there? Or do you think it's, like, a check-in every few weeks sort of thing? Like, I kind of wonder, like, because he sort of, like, Luke knows who Ben Kenobi is, but he doesn't know him enough to be like, hey, there's my buddy Ben Kenobi. He's like, oh, Benny's a strange old hermit. He lives down by the dunes. Like, he knows of him, but it's not as like he would interact with him on a regular basis or anything like that. I was just sort of wonder, like, what do you reckon his day's like?
I think I got this thing where I think Obi-Wan might be he's been through a lot, and I kind of think he might be a struggling alcoholic. He might be at the cantina quite a bit. Or into death sticks or something. So because I don't know, he's had a hard life. So I think he's going to be emotionally a bit wrecked to begin with, at least, and then he'll probably work through it and understand that he has to look after Luke. Or
but it's weird. Though,
I think there's got to be some sort of emotional arc there, or he can't just be kind of boring old straight up Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
there's got to be some ups and downs.
It's funny though, because like. You'd think that the events immediately after Revenge of the Sith, sort of when he drops Luke off, you feel like that's the time he actually has, even though that's the closest to sort of the crap he's been through, that's the time he'll probably feel like he's got to be most on his game. Like, have we been followed? Does anybody know we're here? I've really got to keep an eye on this because, I don't know, maybe somebody else they find Organa and he sells me out, or Yoda, they catch Yoda and they sell me out. Like, you feel like it'd almost be the longer it goes on, it gets harder for him because nothing's kind of happening. Like, how do you stick to the task? How do you stay focused on the task if, like, Luke's 7 years old, you've been watching this kid every day for 7 years and nothing's happening, and you're just like, what am I even doing here? Like, this is what I'm doing with my life. Like, nothing's happening. I'm in the middle of, like, nowhere, and nothing's going down. There's no empires turned up, no nothing. I was really, really watching closely to start with when he was a little baby, and I was worried that they'd just show up. See,
maybe he becomes like a farmer. Like, I think he has to do something day to day to keep occupied. So
well, that's what I'm just wondering. Does he get up every morning and the first thing he does is, he gets out of bed and has a shower and has his breakfast, and he goes, all right, I've got to go down to the Lars thing. Like, maybe I've got a telescope or something, or some way that I can keep a track on stuff without having to go down there, or at least I can watch from a distance.
Maybe he's got like a herd of bantha and he has to milk them or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Like, he's got to earn money. Yeah. He's probably got no cash on him. He just got there. So,
I think, he's probably got a stash of Republic credits, but they're probably no good, right?
No good on Tatooine. Yeah. Maybe we'll get some explanation. But I find that kind of fascinating about Obi-Wan, because it's sort of almost like the boredom might be just as much as a problem as the trauma, because you're just stuck in the desert, like watching over this kid and nothing's happening. So, yeah. I think there'll be, I was just going to say, there'll be a lot of internal monologue and that sort of stuff. I think, I kind of sort of thought a good jumping off point for the show would be, because I think they said it's 6 years after Revenge of the Sith or whatever, is that, he's going through his routine every day. It's the same old shit, nothing's happening. And then one day the Empire arrive on Tatooine and he's like, oh, like that would be the thing that sort of, snaps him. He's like, oh crap, like what's the Empire doing here? Are they here for me? Are they just randomly, they've just gotten to Tatooine finally, they've got to put a presence there? Are they looking for something specific? Do they know about Luke? Do they know about all this other stuff? Like, that would be a thing that would break him out of his routine and sort of, all of a sudden he's got to go investigate. He's got to try and find out what they're doing here. Does he have to run? Does he have to have a contingency plan to get Luke? Like, if I have to like go to that Lars homestead and grab Luke, tell him who I am, and get him out of there, like, I've got to be ready. Have a escape plan kind of thing. See, yeah, you're right. I think maybe the Darth Maul confrontation may have like sprung him into action again. Like, obviously, like, all of a sudden this Sith pops up and he's like, oh shit, I better get my act together. And he's quite old in that, isn't he? Because is that the one that's in Rebels? Because that's quite like Rebels. Yeah, that's just before A New Hope, though, isn't it? So it looks like older. I think that's still.
Luke's probably like 10 or 12 or something.
Yeah, I think he's almost older than that, because I think Ezra's the same. Isn't Ezra the same age as Luke? So he must be like 15, 16. Okay. I'll have to check. I need like Laura from Force Toast or Alex from Star Wars explain this, the knowledgeable people who know these things.
I think I'm good for about plus or minus 5 years.
I'm fuzzy in that kind of area around there. Either way, I'd be curious to see where they end up. There is potential for some interesting stories, definitely, for sure, with Obi-Wan. Bring it on. And look, they've already got a Tatooine set built. They've already got Mos Eisley all sorted out. They can just pull out of storage now, reuse the sets. But
on that topic, the chapter 5, like, how much of that is practical, or is it all that new in digital sets, if you like? Yeah, I'd be curious to know how much of it's practical. I feel like I want to see it behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'd love to see how they've done some of this. But I feel like the Mos Eisley one, I think the cantina for sure they've just built, because it's like, we can just reuse that forever. And if we don't need it, we can stick it in a theme park or put it, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to walk into a perfect replica of Mos Eisley Cantina for sure. That's never going to get old. But the street stuff and the other things, I'm not too sure. Didn't they say that Werner Herzog's office was all fake behind him or something like that? Or
yeah, I read that yesterday, I think. Yeah, that was completely fake, the backdrop. So look, hopefully at the end of the season they do a behind the scenes kind of action.
Show us the magic.
Or one of those making of books, or and I'd also love to see the art of the Mandalorian books. that'd be interesting. I love the artwork at the end of each episode.
Yeah, it's very cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you said you had a couple of Mandalorian theories, did you? Is that something you wanted to throw
no,
out?
yeah. So it's more about I was just listening to Hawes on Blue Harvest about the end of chapter 5.
Was he asking where his T-shirt money was?
Oh, sorry, Hawes, I owe you one. Yeah, so chapter 5. Obviously, the question everyone's asking is who's the person with the cape or the coat and the jangly boots.
Yep.
At the end with what's the Fennec Shan or yeah. So at the end, obviously, everyone's talking about Boba Fett and the sounds of Boba Fett and that funky sort of radio sound that he has. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but like I agree that it matches up to Boba Fett, but I don't necessarily want to see Boba Fett. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I probably am in a similar. I'm probably in a similar camp. It probably sounds, like I said, the Spurs thing and the cape and all that kind of stuff. How do you bring it in that doesn't seem weird, but maybe, I don't know, like, do you get the Mandalorian fighting Boba Fett? It just becomes like a Marvel movie, where like Black Panther fights the guy who's in the other color Black Panther suit, or it's always like you fight the evil opposite of you.
Well, it's like a face-off, exchange faces or helmets, and so there's a lot of theories going around, like it's Cad Bane, and it could just be it could be a lot of things. But the theory that I have, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it, is, and I'd love for it to match up to the movie, is for it to be Enfys Nest. So the reason why I say that is that, like, I think as I said, I'm good for plus or minus 5 years, but I would say that Mando episode is probably 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which is Solo's probably 15 years before that, or 12 before Return of the Jedi. Solo.
It's 10 years before A New Hope, isn't it? Roughly, give or take. So then that's so it's 10.
So let's
plus
say
4, 8. Probably 15 to 17 years, maybe.
Yeah. So if you've got look, everyone. One of the best things about Solo is Enfys Nest, and one of the things that triggered me was if you look up Pablo Hidalgo's book, it turns out that Enfys Nest has Beskar steel on her helmet. Or like a lot of that steel, the jingly jangly kind of steel on her chest plate and the head is it's actually Beskar. So you go, okay, well, there's some sort of link there. That's a very loose link.
That's cool.
But I think it would actually be cool. Like, and the actress Erin Kellyman, could she pull off 18 years later than Solo? Maybe yes. Maybe she doesn't have to take a helmet off. But I think it'd be cool to link those two up, and I think it would kind of validate Solo more, so that you could actually have that link to the TV series, and then maybe go on to have her in some more Disney Plus episodes.
I'd be curious.
It's kind of wish fulfillment in a way, but
yeah. I'd be curious to see what they end up doing with Enfys Nest. Like, I know that the Cassian show, the sort of the Rebellion one, time period wise, that would be closer to the Enfys Nest in Solo, and obviously she's involved in the birth of the rebellion. That's what they sort of use the coaxium for sort of the seed money for the rebellion. So it could be conceivable that she would be somewhat involved. I mean, it's a bit weird that no one's ever heard of her until now, and what she involved, where is she and what she involved with. But I don't mind. I like having the connections and all that kind of stuff like that. Like, I would be all for that. I mean, I didn't really hear the clanking. Like, when I watched the episode for the first time, I just saw the cloak. I thought even maybe Luke Skywalker, got a whiff that there's a baby Yoda around. He's trying to track it down, but It feels like it's related to the bounty hunt. It feels like it's more related to the bounty though than like he's there for Baby Yoda. He's not there for a bounty. Like he wouldn't go hunting someone's bounty. I feel like if Luke got to Mos Eisley and Baby Yoda's still there, he wouldn't be going out to the desert. He'd be staying at the spaceport.
Yeah. So, but I'm trying to think what would happen. So if Enfys Nest is sort of the seed of the rebellion, what would happen after the Empire falls? What would she do? What would be her day to day? Right? Would she be a bounty hunter?
It's like Han in Force Awakens. You know that basically he was bored of after they won, so he didn't have anything to do. And eventually, you know, when it all sort of went wrong with Ben Solo and him and Leia split up, he was like, "Well, I'm just going to go back to smuggling, I guess, because what else? You know, that's what I was good at. I got nothing else to do. There's no Empire to fight anymore, so." I'll just get out there and try and make a few bucks.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So we'll find out next week, hopefully.
I like it. For your sake, I hope.
But there are other. Yeah, I mean, others saying it could be Moff Gideon. It could be lots of things, and that's what I mean. I like the fact that we have to wait a week. We can talk about it. We can all theorize, and hopefully, we can be, you know, adults about it, and if we're all wrong, we can just move on and go on with the story. And
a week's a pretty good time. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're waiting 3 years for a movie kind of thing, or a week's a pretty doable time as well. Like you can kind of deal with that. Like I'm sure that, like you said, if they're doing Mando and it's 2 seasons and they know they've got a second season, it's pretty likely we're going to end on some kind of cliffhanger at the end of this series. So there is going to be a whole oh man, you know, we're going to have to talk about whatever they leave us hanging on when it finishes.
Yeah. Right. Look, I'm happy to be wrong for a week. I think being wrong for 2 years is a bit of a different story. But
Well, like I've been peddling all these, you know, Rise of Skywalker, you know, ideas and things. So in a week's time, I'll know if I've been wrong. But I'm happy to be wrong. I don't sort of marry myself to theories and insist that they have to be right or anything like that. It doesn't really affect my enjoyment. I'm sure if I kind of got to the end of Rise of Skywalker and one or two things panned out how I thought it might happen, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know, I'm glad that I sort of thought like that, especially if it's not really obvious stuff. But at the same time,
it's like sorry, I was just like, could you imagine? I could not imagine if I tried to write a screenplay or a script, how terrible it would be. So yeah, my theories are just stupid, but you know, like other people out there seem to think that they're skilled in the art of, you know, plots and, you know, 3-act structures and character arcs and
that's
stuff.
Why a lot of people I think got their knickers in a knot about Last Jedi because it was sort of one, it was the second act and Force Awakens followed followed A New Hope so closely that people assumed that the second act would follow Empire, and then also because it took place directly after Force Awakens, people were like, well, it's obviously going to have to go this way. This is going to have to happen, and this is going to have to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, you know, people turn on it because they feel stupid because they were so sure that they knew it was going to go down. I'm sure people have other reasons for turning on it, but at the same time, I think there was a lot of like, oh well, I wasn't expecting that, or that doesn't make sense because, you know, it should have just gone down like this. But I do like that there's enough gap, you know, in the story. I think there's supposedly a year or two between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, that it's like, well, we can pretty much put these characters anywhere in any state of mind in any situation, so it's harder to pin them down.
I hope some of the people that didn't like The Last Jedi and don't like The Mandalorian so far, I hope they're surprised. Like, I mean, I hope Frush actually ends up liking Mando.
we want some joy for poor old Frush.
No, I want to see him happy, you know? So,
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I do like that he's, you know, one of the most chilled guys in the world is just tortured by this, you know, as well. I know he's listening. You know, I think he's a little bit more in a state of shock, I think, more than anything else. Just like, you know, I love this thing. Why don't I love this thing as much? It just seems weird, you know.
Yeah, I hope he gets to episode or chapter 8 and writes another song about how much he was wrong. That's
he has to do a formal apology song, or, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
He's just like, I
No, but
started a joke.
it's all valid.
Set the whole world crying. There you go. There's one for you, mate, if you're listening. Well, thanks for coming on, mate. We'll wrap this up. We've got a few more sleeps until Rise of Skywalker. So what we'll do is that we'll obviously get you back on and you can give us the lowdown, your breakdown. I feel like the next, after next week, hopefully people listening will do a little review show from the cinema. We'll probably have a few people talking before the movie going in, and then we'll have some people reviewing afterwards. But then I think for the foreseeable future, you'll be getting former guests on to give their thoughts about the film, and we'll break it down and how, where to from here and where we end up and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you thought as a guy who, I stood, a few seats down from in that celebration arena, and we watched the trailer together and all collectively lost our shit.
Yeah, we all heard the Emperor return. That was some good times. Yeah.
It feels like it feels like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it? Really, like.
Yeah, it was only April.
I know, it was only April. It was only like 6 months ago, or maybe a little bit more, and now we get to see it. So can't wait. Now, if people want to grab you on the internet, if they want to follow Turbo, don't send any spoilers his way. But if you want some good tweets, some good Star Wars, some good music, some good cricket, some other good general insightfulness, where do people find you?
Turbo 1975. And as usual, that's giving away my age, but yeah, there you go. I'm going to try and stay off Twitter for the next week, though, so just lay low.
Just lay low. Everybody be cool.
Everybody be cool.
Well, you can find our stuff at starwarsspeltout.com. T-shirts at TeePublic. Thanks for everybody who's still buying the McClunky T-shirts. That's still going. Every other day, someone's still buying one, which is cool. I'm glad. Hopefully, if you have bought one and you are wearing it, send us a T-shirt and we'll put up on the socials. Or if you wear it to Rise of Skywalker, even better. Let us know. That would be awesome. But thanks so much, mate. I can't wait to get your thoughts in a few days' time.
Thanks, Josh. Enjoy the movie next week. We'll keep in touch.
Will do. See you soon.
Take it easy, mate.